you for tuning in to the Brasel Real Estate Broadcast, where each week we will be covering today's real estate news, tips, tricks, and trends in the Kansas City real estate market. Hosted by the Brasel Real Estate Group at RE/MAX Heritage out of Blue Springs, Missouri. And here's today's host.
Hey everybody, I'm Tricia Dygert, team leader for the Brasel Real Estate Group, and welcome to our broadcast for today. So today we have Alicia Harwood, once again, and Mr. Darren Orr, one of our teammates. Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
It's a rarity. We're going to pull you in more often. So today we're kind of casual. We are going to talk about some of the unique little things in real estate that we encounter. We kind of want to give you guys good quality information. At the same time, we want you to get to know us a little bit. So we figure doing these little encounters are good. So let's start with on the buyer's side of things. What are some of the craziest things you guys have seen when you're showing properties? Because there's some crazy stuff out there. Yeah. Alicia.
I'm going to go back to my mannequin story. So I was showing a buyer a house, and I had walked in first. My buyer was outside on the phone. Just got a call, thank goodness, before I walked in. And as I came around the corner in the bathroom, there was a headless mannequin standing there, and the head was at the mannequin's feet. So it took me a second to realize it was actually a mannequin, and I screamed so loud that I was like, "Who is screaming?"
Didn't you recognize it was you?
Yes, it was just kind of a very scary, out-of-body for a second moment experience. And so then, you know, the buyer was out on the phone, thank goodness. So when she came in, I said, "Hey, there's a mannequin in there."
Don't scream.
Which throughout the rest of the house, there continued to be more mannequins that I was prepared for at that time. So
wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, trippy.
Yeah, Darren, what kind of stuff have you encountered?
Oh my. Well, probably one of the worst ones is I was showing a lady some homes, and this was like the third or fourth one on our list, so I didn't have time to prepare for this. And we walk in this very nice house, and the people obviously had a party, and it really looked like they had just up and left, like, you know, CSS had called them and said, "Hey, there's going to be a showing," and they all just jumped up and left. But there were a lot of drug paraphernalia around, and it was in every room of the house, and this was a big house. It was a 4-bedroom house, and not only that, it was an adult party, is how I'll say it.
Wow.
And so every time we went to a room, it was like, oh my, oh my, oh my. It was very embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. So when I transitioned from being a therapist into this field of real estate, I was thinking, oh, I've seen everything. And I have. I've seen homes that, you know, but I figured, you know, in real estate, these people are wanting to sell their homes. They're going to be top shape. Everything's going to be perfect. And then, like, one of my first things, I walk into a basement with this very strange, unfinished basement with this shower in the middle of it, like, really strange, with tarps, like, around it, and, like, red paint, which it looked like a murder scene.
Oh, geez.
I mean, it was crazy. I couldn't believe the things that we sometimes see that
Dexter.
It's just crazy. Some of the things we see when we show houses, I'm just like in shock that this is, you know.
You really want to sell?
Yeah. Yes, we're going to buy that. Yeah, I'm going to buy the drug paraphernalia house. So yeah, it's a crazy, crazy thing that we kind of encounter some interesting things. So how about scary moments? Because there have been some scary moments. I mean, the mannequin scared you, but there's been others that have been scary, like for your safety.
Yeah.
So what kind of things have scared you guys when you're showing a house?
You know, I've been in a house, like a duplex sometimes, where we're downstairs and all of a sudden you hear somebody run across the top, and that was the neighbor. So that time wasn't too scary. I know one time I showed a house that had a squatter living in it. So that was pretty scary. He had actually taken the lockbox off the front door, taken the sign out of the yard. It was a vacant home.
Right.
So I went around to the back door trying to figure out, you know, how am I supposed to get in this house to show it? And it slides right open. And I walked into the kitchen, and there was, you know, not much in this house, but there was a pizza box with some chicken bones that had been, like, eaten to the bone. And just everything about it was so eerie. And I ended up calling the listing agent and saying, "Hey, you know, I think somebody's squatting in this house." And of course they were like, what are you talking about? And got there, and luckily the squatter was not in the house at the time I was there, but had he been there, that would have been a lot more scary.
Right. Darren, what's kind of been scary
I've had
moments for
something
you?
similar to that, but another thing I've had was I'd gone to preview a house for a client of mine, and it was a very nice house, but when I went in, there was this cat, and I love animals, but this cat, I was like, oh, hey, kitty. I'm talking to the cat, and I was like, here, I'm here to see your house, and so I started walking around, and the cat's going, wow, making all these, weird sounds, and I'm like, it's okay. Well, the cat started chasing me around the house, and he had his claws out. And so I'm running around this house, and finally I ran up it had a spiral staircase. I ran up the spiral staircase, and he came chasing after me. Well, finally, I think it had two bedrooms with a Jack and Jill bath. Somehow I was able to get through and back down the steps, and the cat did not go all the way down the steps. Instead, he leaped off this balcony into it had a 2-story entry hall, and leaped down on me. I had a suit on, and he ended up landing right about here on my calf, biting me, scratching me. He actually ripped the fabric on my suit, and I was bleeding.
Oh, no.
And this, I'm sitting there trying to shake this cat off of me, do all that. Anyway, I finally got out of the house, and of course, I had to call the agent and say, you got this mean kitty. And they're like, oh yeah, someone else told us that. And I'm like, well,
Really?
you think you want to do something about it? Because I'm glad I didn't have a client there.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So
mean kitty story.
Nice. So I know one time I was showing a tenant house. So the tenant had even given the approval for the listing agent for me to show. And I knock, because I know tenants are, notorious for strange things. And when I'm knocking and I ring the doorbell, nobody answers. So I go in, and we go around the corner to the first bedroom, and this guy is sleeping, but he has a handgun sitting on the nightstand.
Oh, wow.
Needless to say, we were quickly and quietly out the door,
Yes.
because the last thing I wanted to do was surprise this guy and end up someone getting shot. So yeah, there's some crazy things that we experience, and we're always on guard. I think we all learn to kind of really know our environment. So the other thing with buyers is, what is one thing that one of your buyers has done that has really just either almost made it impossible or did make it impossible right at close to even purchase their house?
Change jobs. Why would you change jobs a few days before closing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or buy a real expensive car.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because then it completely, you can't do anything. Your debt to income ratios change, or your employment verification is now gone. So yeah, mental notes. Just make sure when you're in that buyer's process, don't be doing any of that stuff.
Yeah, don't even apply for
Yeah,
anything.
just be conservative.
Yeah.
Be radically conservative.
Do all that
same.
after close.
Yeah, because there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do to help that process. So now let's talk about sellers, our lovely sellers. So what is the hardest thing that you've ever had to tell your seller about their home?
Odors.
That's
Yeah.
that would be mine too.
Yeah, when you go in and you just smell a funky smell in the house, you've got to address it, because smells will kill a deal faster than anything. Buyers won't even offer on a house that has an odor because they don't know where it's coming from. They don't know how to get rid of it. So yeah, odors, and it's, you have to be so delicate because you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And for these commercials, people get nose blind to the smell they're in all the time.
Right. And yeah, we have this delicate line we have to walk. If we've got to do the best for our sellers because they want to sell their home, but yet we don't want to offend them at the same time. So the odors are the same
Odors
for
would
you.
be, someone told me in real estate, regarding real estate, if you can smell it, you can't sell it. So you got to make sure that it's neutral smelling. That even goes if you put in every room those little, what are those little things that you can plug in?
The air
air fresheners is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I've had that where they've been in every room, and if you have a client that's allergic to certain things, they can't stay in there. And of course, you want the buyer to linger in your house and start seeing themselves living there. But if they can't get past their nose, then they're out the door and feel too bad on that one.
Right, and I think another one that I've had a few times, especially here in Missouri, is too many taxidermy kind of objects in the house. So too many deer heads, or there's just things that we want to try to make those listings and those homes as neutral as possible to the buyer population. So as little of things, and we're getting ready to come up on a political season. That's another thing that I bring up to sellers, even though they may not like to hear it, is make it as neutral as possible, because you don't want to, because people walk in and the first thing they see, it takes them a step back. So those are hard conversations, I think, to have sometimes with our sellers. But
Yeah. And you don't want the seller to lose thousands of dollars because they want to leave the deer heads up.
Right. Or their political sign out in the front yard.
Yeah.
Right.
If they really do want to sell their house, it's a numbers game.
It is.
And it's like,
the more buyers you can attract.
Exactly. So what if that buyer just happens not to be your political affiliation, but they've got money and they will buy your house? Then take the sign down.
Right. Yeah. None of that other stuff's that important when it comes
Right.
to getting your house sold.
Right.
So tell me about the most difficult listing appointment you've had and how that kind of went. Darren, you want to start with that?
This was an odd one. I had gotten a phone call and another agent was in the room, and it just ironically, she had been on this listing appointment. So, or she thought she had been, but she said, "Was that such and such?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she says, "Oh, don't go." And I said, "Well, I already told him I will come over there." Well, this was in a high rise, and this guy who I did not know, and I did my numbers, and I go and do my thing. Well, when I get to the lobby, you had to sign in. This was a high rise, and you had to sign in, the guard person, and even the guard person was like, he said, "Are you sure you want to go up there?" And I'm thinking, gosh, this is
Man,
so
thinking,
weird.
Nope.
And the other agent had warned me, and I'm leaving that part out, but what she'd said. But anyway, when I go up to this house or this condo, the guy, he was a little intimidating. You remember the show, The Munsters, Herman Munster? This guy was like 6'5" and just really broad-shouldered and kind of intimidating looking. And he, I looked at his property, and evidently he'd had dozens of agents come through over many years. It was kind of known. I didn't know, but a lot of people knew about this guy. And he always was interviewing agents, and he was, I don't know if he was purposely trying to be ornery or what, but he wanted like $100,000 more than the thing was worth, and it was dirty. I don't remember it smelling bad, but it just wasn't put together very well. And I made some suggestions, what you might want to do this or that, and he was not. He didn't take kindly to any of that. And what he was really doing, what I didn't know, is he was going to write a book about realtors and how bad we were. I guess he had a bad experience at some point. And so when I didn't agree on his price, I said, "Well, I think you're about $100,000 too high based on all the comps." He's like, "Oh, I'm going to put you in my book. You're just like all the others."
Wow.
And I'm like, "Well, I'm sorry, but as per my professional opinion, and I'm here to give that to you." But so when I was leaving, I thought, well, obviously I didn't get that listing. He called the next day and said, "Well, why don't you come over here and list the property?" And I thought, gosh, do I really even want to do this?
Right.
I don't think this man's got all his screws together. It was a little odd. It turns out he by the time I was going to go and take the listing, then he backed out. I think he probably needed to get some more numbers in his book.
Yeah, right.
Some more entries.
Yeah.
So that was an odd one.
Yeah, Alicia.
I've been through a couple weird ones. One listing appointment, I walked in and there was people sleeping on the couch, and the house was really dark, and so that was kind of odd and a little scary. And another I went to was a hoarder house, and when I got there, the lady was just crying the whole time, and so that's a little awkward because I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
We can help you, clear out the house. You got to get rid of stuff in order to sell it. So that, I've been on some interesting ones. And then there's another where I was talking to the homeowner, and her friend was there smoking cigarettes the whole time in the house, which obviously, when you take a listing, you don't necessarily want it to smell like cigarette smoke.
Right.
And so I was there for about an hour talking to her, and he was just smoking the entire time. And by the time I got back to the office, I reeked like an ashtray. So,
Right.
yeah.
So for me, my hardest one was actually one that then I ended up refusing to take. I went to a house, and it was a pretty bad hoarder kind of house. And when I walked in, this gentleman, he was just very difficult. And he wanted to go into all of his social views and political views, and he was very angry type person. And I remember thinking, he was a veteran. I wanted to help him. I wanted to help him get out of the situation he was in, but he was just so filled with anger and hatred for just the majority of the population that when I left, literally I felt sick to my stomach, the thought of working with this guy. And I kept thinking, no, I want to do what's right. I want to help him. And, I weighed it out and thought about it. And then he called me the next day, and I just finally said, I just don't think we are a good match. I said, and I gave him some other options of people that maybe could handle that constant stuff. But I was not one to probably be in the middle of that kind of discord all the time. So I knew myself better, that those kind of issues, whether it's racial discrimination or what, that kind of stuff pokes my buttons. And I knew that if I was going to be in the day in, day out with that guy, I was probably not going to hold my tongue too long. So, there's been some that I've chosen not to be a part of because I just didn't think that we were going to be a good fit, and I didn't want to be in a situation where I was going to butt heads with somebody. But you guys had some where you've just decided it wasn't the right one for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an interview process for both.
It is.
If it's a good fit or not.
Yeah. That's one thing I've learned too, is not, because in particular the one with the cigarette smoke, I had already had in my head, like, I'm listing this house. And when I got there and that was going on, since it was already in my head, I ended up taking the listing. And that was one of those things where later on I'm like, I probably should not have taken this listing, because the house it needed so much, and the people just weren't willing to do what needed to be done to get that sold.
And you just knew it was going to be a really hard process.
Yeah.
So what's the hardest? So there's a lot of behind the scenes things that happen in our business that, that the majority of the public doesn't even realize. So what's the hardest behind the scenes issue that you've ever faced as a listing agent?
Well, mine would be on an appraisal side, which could be, buyer, seller side, but it was where an appraisal did not come out. And when we got a copy of the appraisal, the appraiser had left off. This actually happened in Dallas, but this was a house that had a really large sunroom, and that part was on slab. The rest of the house was pier and beam. And in Texas, they do your ductwork of your houses, if it's pier and beam, it's sometimes underneath, or if it's slab, it's coming from the ceilings. In this particular case, the majority of the house was pier and beam, so the ductwork came from the flooring area. But because this was on slab, in addition, it came from the ceiling. Actually, it came from the main part of the house, where it butted up against the original house, and they had ductwork under on this side. But the appraiser, when he walked into the room from the house to the sunroom, when he took his picture, that's all he did. He didn't look back this way, and so he didn't count that as square footage, and it was a vast, it was like 400 or 500 square feet, if I remember right. Anyway, it made a big difference on the price. He argued the point, said it didn't count, blah, 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 and we finally had to pay for another appraisal to get out there. And he kept saying, look, at the ceiling, there's no ducts. And I'm like, those are can lights you're showing the ducts. So I had to take pictures and send it back to him. He still wouldn't take it. So we ended up getting a different appraiser and did get the deal done. However, it delayed the closing, I think about a week.
Right.
Yeah. I think one of the hardest things I've ever seen on a listing side is when we were listing foreclosures, to walk into a house and see it look like people just picked up and left in the middle of the night. The whole house is still there. All the furniture is still there. It's in disarray and it's a mess. And you've got coolers in the kitchen with stuff in the coolers because, the electricity had went out. And I think that stuff was really hard. for me to see, because it's like you can almost feel the emotions of that house when you walk in and see, wow, these people just picked up and ran in the middle of the night. And so yeah, that would definitely have worn me the most in doing those.
Yeah, I think there's so much behind the scenes. I mean, we've got inspection issues that, we get resolutions that on the listing side from buyer's agents that are like, 5 pages sometimes. And to have to try to, and I mean, I think I know on my end, I'm already, before I even send that over to my seller, I'm already with that buyer's agent saying, hey, we got to start negotiating this down, because there's just this is kind of ridiculous. One of the things that I found, like when we're a listing agent and doing open houses, those have always been really overall good experiences. But I know I had one, and it kind of goes back to my whole thing. I was a therapist for years. I was a social worker, so I have this social justice kind of thing about me as a person. But so I was listing a home, and people coming in and making very discriminatory statements about my sellers based on the pictures that were on the wall, just a family picture. And literally I kept catching mine, and it happened on 2 occasions with a seller, their home, and people coming in and just being very judgmental. And to feel that, because, these are people that you're working with, and you care, we grow relationships with these people, and you care about them. And to not lose my cool was a challenge for me, not to just call them out on that. So to balance that was kind of a hard thing. And then at the same time, when my sellers ask how'd the open house go, to be authentic with them and say, I had this issue, because you want to tell them the truth of what's going on, and that may be an issue for some people. And whether they wanted to remove that picture or not, I was proud of them to say, no, we're not removing it, just for the mere fact of this is how we're going to be, and we're going to be authentic too. But, there's things that we encounter that are different, that are a little bit hard. And sometimes, our business is relationships, really. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about our people and helping them find homes and make this great, huge investment for their family. But there's a lot of emotions that go into that. So we deal with a lot of that. We deal with, some of the best moments in their lives, and sometimes the worst, in divorce and death. So those relationships are what's important. So today we just kind of wanted to give you a little glimpse onto us as people and what we encounter. And we hope that gives you the ability to see us as not just real estate professionals, but human beings who care about our clients. So we appreciate everyone coming and watching for us, and what we need to like Facebook and Instagram and YouTube.
Yep.
Is that it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for following us and checking us out, and we will see you next week with some more great information.
Good day.
Thanks for listening to the Brasel Real Estate Broadcast with the Brasel Real Estate Groups at RE/MAX Heritage. If you like our show and would like to keep up with our upcoming episodes, please like our Facebook page, the Brasel Real Estate Group, where we go live every Wednesday. Or you can find us on YouTube at the Brasel Real Estate Group page. To find out more about our real estate services, you can find us at www.braselrealestategroup.com or contact us at 816-897-5151. Thanks again for tuning in, and have a great day.
Our friends at Homestead Inspection Company have been serving the Kansas City metro area for over 27 years. Homestead covers inspections for sellers, buyers, multifamily, and commercial property inspections. Contact Homestead today at www.homestead-inspection.com or give them a call at 816-833-1090 for all your inspection needs. Looking for a home warranty? Our friend Jamie Dickey at Choice Home Warranty has the solution for you. With local pre-screened technicians, 24/7 home warranty service, and a $65 deductible rate, it's easy to see why Choice is our choice for home warranties. Contact Jamie today at 816-550-5144 or find out more about Choice at www.chwpro.com. Our friend Isaiah Bragg at Country Financial is here to help you with all of your financial needs, whether it's business, retirement, auto insurance, home insurance, or life insurance. Contact him today at 816-795-6340. If you're in the market to find a home or thinking about refinancing or a reverse mortgage, contact Deb Brasel at Motto Mortgage Heritage. Deb's an award-winning mortgage broker and been in the business for almost 20 years. Contact Deb today and get pre-approved at 816-678-9283. NMLS number 299821 and office NMLS number 1720438. Each office is independently owned, operated, and licensed.